This is the Average Joe Strongman Show. What's up? I'm Mike, and this is my brother from another mother, Lee Woody.
And I'm Lee. How are you?
Welcome.
Welcome to the Average Joe Strongman Show, episode number 2.
Yes, sir.
Got a good show for you tonight. We've actually got Vaughn Sikorski is going to be on with us. We're going to bring him on here in just a few minutes. Then to start off, I'm going to go through the disclaimer. So the views and opinions expressed in the Average Joe Strongman Show are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of River City Barbell, which is my home gym, or E-Town Fitness, which is Mike's home gym, or any of the vendors discussed during the podcast. Any content provided by our bloggers or authors are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, anyone, or anything. So this is our opinion, people. We're just trying to share some knowledge, bring some people in that have a lot more knowledge than us, and share it with people that are interested in getting into the sport. So that's kind of what it's all about.
It's like Patrick Swayze said in Roadhouse, just be nice.
Just be nice. just be nice. All right, so we got Vaughn Sikorski. We're going to bring him on.
Yeah.
We ready for him?
Yes, sir.
Here we go.
There he is.
There he is.
That was cool. I love that intro.
Man.
That intro was cool with my little name and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah. Man, I tell you what, high techs. Look at you guys.
Mike's got it going on. You know,
Yeah.
I like it.
That was all Lee. That was him teeing it up, so I would say that was all Lee.
Yeah.
So
He's, he had to bring me out of the archaic ages.
That was pretty neat. I like that.
well, welcome to the Average Joe Strongman Show, my friend.
It was good to be here.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, so Vaughn, so we want to kind of start in the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your background in sports prior to getting into strongman.
I'm probably just like everybody else. 4 basic sports, well, except for hockey, football, basketball, whatever it was. But my dad was a prize fighter, so I boxed from as soon as I knew how to put gloves on. All 3 of us, me and my brothers. And, of course you have dreams and aspirations till you keep getting punched in the face, especially by your older brother.
Right.
So, and then you get in your later teens and you start focusing towards women, the females, as opposed to any other sports. So, that's kind of how it was, though. I played everything that there was to play. And I actually played organized sports up into my late 30s, actually. Yeah.
I got to tell you, for somebody who got punched in the face repeatedly, especially by your brothers or others, you're a handsome man. I
tried.
What Tyson say, everybody's got a plan to get punched in the face, right?
Yeah, right. Everybody's got a plan to get punched. And that's true. Me and a couple guys, it's very interesting because you always want to test yourself in a way.
Sure.
But, I tell the guys, I have a bunch of guys that we train with, and I said, the thing is if I can mix it up, I said, I can see the punches coming, but my body mechanics, they're not going to let me do anything about it. I'm just going to see it come. I'm like, man, that's going to hurt when I get hit with that because I'm not going to be able to dodge it. It's going to suck.
The thing people don't realize, honestly, the thing people don't realize is it hurts to get hit. It also hurts to punch. It hurts your hands, man.
It does, yeah. Yeah, especially when you get arthritis at our age. Lee's a little older than I am. He knows, but
here we go.
He is a little older than you.
Because it's nice. It's nice not being the oldest guy right now. Honestly. But yeah, being in organized sports, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. We would play in some very competitive basketball leagues, and you'd have guys from college that were young. We had the whole Duquesne basketball team we had to play against. We actually played them in the championships. But that was fun stuff. I actually loved playing in that. And I got out of it when I realized I couldn't run the full court and keep running back and forth like I used to and still bang around down low. And that's when you kind of like realize, man, you got to switch gears somewhere and start doing something else.
Yep.
Fortunately, I happened to be a little bit strong that I actually got into this sport.
Yep.
Yeah. So what was it that tipped the scales and got you interested in strongman? What was that defining moment or
okay exposure? So here's what it was. I was working out at the YMC. That's where I trained. I only trained there just because they had a basketball court upstairs. So I'd go work out, go upstairs and play hoops with the young kids. And there was a guy, he's older than me, and small guy. He would do strongman comps in between bodybuilding comps.
Wow.
And he said to me, he goes, I was deadlifting one time. He goes, you got to go do strongman. And I go, where they like lift those stones up and stuff? He's like, yeah, you got to do that. I'm like, eh. He goes, give it a serious thought. I'm like, okay. Never thought about it. And then about a week later, he was just watching me train. He goes, man, you should definitely go do this stuff. I'm like, eh. So it piqued my interest. I got on the internet, looked up, I seen a show that was kind of local, signed up for it. It was history from there.
Yeah.
I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it like right before I even started the first event.
So this is a question for both you guys, actually. How many times have you talked to people about, you do strongman, and they say, is that the one where you lift the big balls? Yeah, and my comeback is, I lift my balls every day. I lift my big balls every day.
Marbles.
Yep. Or trying to explain it to somebody. What is strongman? It's like, the big concrete stuff. Oh yeah, on TV. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's what's nice now because there's so much exposure in the sport that people kind of know what you're talking about now.
Yeah,
it got a little more mainstream, I think, with Thor being on Game of Thrones, right? A couple years ago, they had that History Channel show with Shaw and Obetz.
That was actually a good show. That was entertaining.
Yeah. So how long? You said you competed kind of in your late 30s, Vaughn. How long have you been competing in strongman? When did you start with strongman?
Started at 42, so it was actually 10 years ago.
Okay.
I did my first comp. That was that comp I was telling you about. So had no idea what I was doing. I trained less than a month for the comp. Went there, and of course, I met one of those guys that we're not going to name any names, but I met a guy like that, and the first thing he told me was how much he deadlifted.
Who shall not be named.
Yeah, he shall not be named. How much he deadlifted, how much he could press. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, I don't care. I just want to win. You know what I mean? Or I didn't even know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And there was a lady there who was at the time in her late 50s, mid to late 50s, actually. And she was from Virginia, and I cannot remember her name. So, like farmer's walk, I had no idea how to do a farmer's walk. Yeah. It was 50 foot around a cone, back down. But it was funny. The very first event was, I think it was log clean and press. It was 215. I had no idea how to clean a log. I just curled it up, get 24 reps out of it.
Yep.
I couldn't do 24 reps right now with 135.
Yeah.
So it just shows you what a difference in age things make. But
sure. Well, and a whole 10 years of injuries too. I mean,
everything adds up, of course. And I keep thinking like, boy, I wish I logged what my training was back then, because I can't remember what I did, 4 months ago.
Yeah.
But I won every event except the last event, which is actually, I have video. It's pretty funny. It was a Husfeld carry for max distance.
Yep.
And you could see, 50-50 at 165, my legs turned to rubber, and you actually could see my legs doing the waves. Yeah. And in the background, it's even more hilarious because you can see the people in the background cracking up because they can see my legs turning to rubber. So I actually have that video. It's pretty entertaining, though.
It's the difference between comedy and tragedy. When it happens to somebody else, it's comedy. When it happens to you, it's tragedy.
That's right.
And surprisingly, exactly right. I didn't get injured, which is a shocker.
Good.
As bad as my technique was on everything, Like we had an axle deadlift. You know how I trained for an axle deadlift back then? I didn't have an axle. I took a barbell part and put a piece of PVC over top of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's what I did.
Nice. DIY style, baby.
It's my massive brain. But, you know, that's how I didn't know anything about it, you know?
Yeah.
But I knew I needed something thick.
Yep.
I probably...
I mean, you're going to serve it up. I'm going to hit it out of the park.
Right.
I'm feeding the softballs to you. I mean, I could have probably ordered the fat grips back then.
Yeah.
I didn't know about them. You know, so
that's how I trained for axle. For my first comp, I did axle. That's how I trained for. It was like, well, how the hell am I going to do this? Fat grips, right? Yeah. It's like, it's about all we had.
It works.
Yeah.
So I got a separate question. It's unrelated, but Vaughn, I've been wanting to ask you this, and I know the spelling is different, but are you anyway related to Igor Sikorski?
I wouldn't be doing this podcast if I was. I can tell you that.
Or if he was, we'd be paying him a lot of money to be
sponsoring your show.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I like his podcast. You know, let me hook you up.
Yep.
Yeah. So anybody who's out there related to the Sikorski name that's going to listen or see this, throw out some sponsorship money.
That's right. Throw it out there.
Yeah.
Hey, when was the last time you competed, Vaughn?
Last August. I didn't plan on it. I didn't plan on doing the whole competition. My plan was just to go hit the state record deadlift and zero the rest of the events because I didn't care. Yeah. But I got talked into doing it. Yeah, there was no offense to anybody, but the competition wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to be derogatory towards anybody, but we're masters athletes.
Not like
most masters athletes that get into the sport aren't prepared to go in and compete at a different level.
True.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time to get yourself prepared for any kind of level.
It does. And I think that's one thing we all have in common. Like all three of us, we didn't start until we were in our 40s. Like I didn't start doing this. The Vaughn started when he was 38. I know plenty of guys competing now in their 20s and 30s. Like we didn't start until we were a little bit older. Right. And so that fear of getting injured, I think it's magnified, the older you are. Now, that being said, I would encourage anybody who's watching, listening, just give it a try. Rip the Band-Aid off. Right. I mean, it's just dip your toe in the water, give it a try. I mean, I trained for probably a year before I competed in my first comp because I just didn't want to get hurt. And then, of course, I did.
Yeah.
But
it's the nature of the beast, though.
Yeah. And I think that, on that same note, when you start thinking about the guys that are, and now you've got these monsters that are now graduating into masters that are just turning 40, like Jim Morris and Davey McCann and Rob McCann. And, these guys are just animals that have been competing in the open classes for years now. Right. And now they're graduating into masters and they're just going to dominate for, the next few years for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to see because
it's great to see.
When you compete with masters, you have a handful of guys that you had to worry about and compete against, and you knew it was a tough challenge, depending on where you're competing at, what competition. Yep. Now, the sport has evolved, and all these young guys are getting older now, and they see what's happening. Sure. I think it's good it's happening.
I think part of the barometer for that too is you look at the weight matrices of different competitions, nationals or otherwise. The weights are getting bigger. 10 years ago, you jump in as a masters. Hey, these weights are doable. Anymore, that's not always the case, man.
215 for reps.
Yeah, right. Because you got guys coming out of the open who are 40 in a day or 40 in a month old, and it's like, they're not gonna be repping 215. That's warm up weight.
Sure. You see what's going on in some of these events recently announced, and some of these guys who are doing the masters class, and it's fantastic. I mean, these are some huge names competing on that international stage now, and you see a lot of these other masters that are good, and they're like, wow, I get to compete. To them, it's more of an honor to compete against them.
Yep.
Well, you can't lose that competitive edge where you should want to beat them.
Yeah.
At least it's something,
Yep. Absolutely.
You should gear up to beat them, prep yourself for that.
Yep. So hold that thought. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. Lee, you got the calendar ready to go?
Yeah. So we're going to
run through some upcoming shows over the next couple months.
All right, cool.
All right, we'll be back. 2 minutes.
All right. A lot of good shows coming up, including one Mr. Vaughn Sikorski himself will be promoting.
Tell us about your upcoming show.
So, okay. So I have a group of strongmen at my gym, and it's really grown from me and 2 other guys to between now
25, 30. It looks like. I mean,
well, on a good day, it's usually between 15 and 20.
Yeah,
on average, and it's great. And so what happened is a lot of people in this sport. People come to visit, and it gathered a lot of attention. Willie reached out to me from USS, asked me to host a show in Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh hasn't been on the map in strongman.
Yeah,
probably the 10 years when I first competed.
Yeah,
there hasn't been a competition in Pittsburgh, I think, since 2012, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, there's been competitions closer to Erie than there's been to Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
or in the middle of the state and out towards Philly, but nothing in this Western Pennsylvania area. So I said, yeah, I'll do one show a year, and it kind of snowballed now because it's gonna be a pretty cool show. It's gonna be very
bigger.
It's gonna be Pittsburgh themed. There'll probably, I got almost 40 athletes signed up already.
Nice. And it's September? Awesome.
Yeah. So, because I'm close to Ohio, Western Ohio or Eastern Ohio. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a ton of strongman athletes in that area.
Yeah.
You got guys from Sean's gym.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are strong as hell over there.
Yeah.
I got a good group of strong guys. And then there's another gym in between Pittsburgh and Ohio. They're called 580. And they got some good strongman athletes there. So it's nice to see it grow. And like I said, it's going to be very Pittsburgh themed. So it'll be kind of neat.
Cool.
What you're doing. And if you come into the city and you check out the city, if you're not from around here, you'll see how everything is. I'll key you on one event. One event is a medley. So it's 2 sandbag loads and a frame carry back, kind of like World's Strongest Man. The frame, though, is going to look like the Clementi Bridge. Wow. So the frame will be arched. The handles will be arched, painted gold, like the bridge.
Wow.
And then the rest will be black with the paste.
That's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I was hoping he was going to have it done by today so I could post it on the show for you guys. But
that's cool.
Well, all that means is we got to have you back on prior to September so you can show people. Hey, look, it sounds badass.
And I'll have everything. So I don't have 2 events verified yet, but one of them is probably going to be a sled pull up a ramp. Like remember they used to pull the boat up the ramp?
You evil bastard. Yeah.
You're a sick man. Right.
Well, you got to be strong. Now, I like variant lifts. I hate the same old, okay, we're going to do this. Or like, listen, I love stones as much as anybody. But stones for a big show doesn't work well if you don't have a place to clean up.
Logistics, yeah.
Yeah. In the end, if you don't want to mess.
Right.
It's kind of like, all these shows that have every single year deadlift that's 13 or 15 inches because nobody wants to use a floor jack and lift up the bar to change plates. You can just throw it right on top of those wagon wheels. It makes it easy. Right. And I get that, especially when you're having a big show. But I like something different. Like I never did 2 years ago. I did this power stairs. I don't know if you guys ever done power stairs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Fun. That was one of the funnest things I've ever did. Now I can't make power stairs work because I got to think of the safety of the athletes for one.
Sure.
And if I'm going to build something that's a big expense.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of, as you guys know, there's not a lot of money in doing a show. Yep. You're not making any money. But if you ask everybody else, they all think you're making money, which you're not.
Well, you're Sikorski, so you got to have all kinds of money already, right?
That was the case. Come on. We just talked about this. I would watch from a helicopter is what I would be doing.
Right.
But it is going to be a sled pull up that ramp, but each sled is going to look like one of the inclines in Pittsburgh. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. They have an incline that goes up from the bottom of Carson Street all the way up to top of Mount Washington.
Yeah.
So that's what those are going to look like.
I don't know what it is, but it sounds cool.
It is cool. I'll shoot you a picture of it.
All right.
And you'll recognize what I mean.
Do you yourself have any show? Are you competing anytime soon?
OSG.
Okay.
OSG in November.
All right.
They actually came out with a 50 overclass league.
Yeah, I've seen that. Actually, you're doing the 50 over 50 World Championships at your comp.
Yeah, they're having. See, I can't give you any information on that because I'm not too sure on how that's working.
All right, we'll table that one.
I would love to, and I think I'm going to get more information after Nats.
Okay.
All right. We'll table that one for a later episode of the podcast.
Yeah, because I would like to hand out that information because there's some guys that are 50 who would like to compete.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Hey, talk for a little bit. We got maybe like 5-6 minutes left. Talk about your training. You follow a program or you just kind of wing it? What are you doing right now?
I do my own programming unless I'm training for like OSG.
OSG, yeah.
Yeah.
So you work with a coach?
I work with Ken.
Ken
McClellan.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So he
knows a thing or two about strongman.
A little bit, huh? He's been programming me since 16.
Yep.
And as an athlete, I grew so much because of that, obviously. Sean Shoemaker does my deadlift program.
Okay.
So, in the past year, my deadlift has been so consistent, man, which is nice. It's not bad for an old guy.
Yeah.
But
I remember seeing Ken McClellan in 2016 in Louisville at Nationals because he won that. That's when you, Lee, got your pro card, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lee placed second right in front of Mike
Cromer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I remember seeing Ken and being like,
yeah,
because I mean, he's
enormous
beast. Yeah.
And I look like Lee is a small guy. You see him all the time.
Well, none of us are, but I mean,
no. Yeah. But I mean, when I looked at the point spread after Nationals, I mean, there was Ken, and then there was all the rest of us.
Everybody else.
I mean,
yeah.
He swept all 5 events, and there was a significant. I mean, I got close to him in 2 events, which was Stones and the Fingal Finger, where I was within a second of his time. But everything else, he just blew everybody away.
Yeah, you barely beat me on that one, big boy.
He's definitely on a different level. I mean, let's be honest about that. The funny story about him is my first comp, Nats comp, I seen him walk into the Rolls meeting, and I remember looking at him like, who the hell is this guy? You know, I have guys sitting in front of me that I can't even see around, you know what I mean? And I mean, and Vaccio was there. You can hear him you can hear him out from out the hall.
Yeah.
You had him and Bevins and Patterson and all those guys. And then here comes freaking Ken walking in. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's another one of these guys. And he just sat down and didn't say a word to anybody, you know? So he didn't have to say a word after the first or second event. He didn't have to say anything to anybody. And I remember looking at him like, there's no way this dude is 40 plus, you know?
Yeah.
And I went up to him after the third. He came after the max sandbag carry, and he wasn't even breathing heavy, and he won the event. I'm like, come on, man, you know?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, I was dying, you know? That's when everybody told me to bulk up. They're like, bulk up. You got to be 300 pounds to compete against these guys. I couldn't breathe. I weighed in, I think, at 294, and I could not breathe. It was the heaviest I've ever been.
Wow.
And now when I compete, I'm usually between 275 and 280, and that's where I like to be, so I can actually breathe.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I have him program me for shows like that, and he's relentless, as you guys would probably know.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, but it pays off.
I weighed 275 once in college.
Yeah.
Well, now what's nice though, I could say, is I'm not the oldest.
Yeah.
And
again, thanks again for that, Vaughn. I appreciate it.
I'm still the lightest.
Show of support. Yeah. So now, given your speaking about your training, your coaches, right? Ken and Sean doing your deadlift. I mean, who do you train with? Who's your training? Do you have a specific training partner that you train with at the gym, or?
I don't. I have a group of people like on Saturdays and a small group during the week sometimes. Right now, currently, I'm training with I train with a girl right now who's new to the sport, very motivated. This chick is a badass, and I don't know how else to put it. So she's a widow, single mom now, surviving breast cancer.
Good for her.
Surviving COVIDs, and then survived COVIDs. And I
Masters athlete?
She masters?
She is a masters athlete.
Okay.
Yes, she is. And her friend was training with us, who she's actually pretty good, but she doesn't give herself enough credit. But she said, hey, my friend really wants to come. And we were texting kind of in between. I said, Jamie, just come. I said, I would never make you do anything outside your realm of what you can do. And she came, and so just for yesterday, for example, when she came, she barely could log, clean, and press 65 pounds, 70 pounds. She just did a 115 for an RPE of 9 yesterday.
Good for her.
Yeah, like it was nothing. And she showed me a video where she tried a 110 or 115 log. You could see the difference, just how she couldn't even clean it. You could tell how heavy it was to her back then.
Yep. Wow.
So since January, she's come this far already. That's great. And Ken trains her, so
yeah.
But she's really made strides. But that's kind of what training with. Getting to train with people. I don't know about you guys, but I've always trained by myself because I never had anybody to train with, because we're strongmen. When we prep for a show, things are very particular what you're training with. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I do like is just probably like you guys, you video your lifts so you can kind of look and see what you did wrong or whatever. But when you have a group of people and you kind of tell them what you're looking for. So I would say on bag throws, I'm tucking my chin and not looking up on the release. And I look at my video, I said, well, this is the problem. This is why I'm losing probably 6 to 14 inches on my throw because of this. And I'll say, this is what's happening. So then when you're doing your throws, one of these guys will say to you, "Hey, don't tuck your chin." Well, in the mid-throat, and I need that reminder, and I like that.
Yep.
You know,
good to get that feedback in the moment, right, when you're training.
Exactly, because you'll be like, look at the video, and you'll be like, "Oh, I was tucking my damn chin again."
Yeah,
just something like that. So in a way, it's kind of cool that you have a group, but ultimately, you know, I don't mind training by myself. But when you have a group that will help, especially with us doing crazy weights. It's nice that people help you load weights and take them off.
And I think that's one of the things about the sport too. We've talked about, all of us, you know, the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the being there to support one another, whether it's in training, whether it's in competition. Training with a group like that, Vaughn, you get to kind of step outside yourself, because you can look at a video of yourself and you might see one or two things, but there's that third thing that maybe you missed that somebody else sees. Yeah. And they can tell you about it, right?
And that's what I'm looking for out of the group. I'm hoping it's not that they won't, but you need that from the other athletes. Like our group, we have great chemistry within the group.
Good.
Which is surprising when you have that many people. But you look forward to training with these people every Saturday.
Yeah. I think Lee's got that at River City Barbell. I've got a small group that I train with. It's the same thing. Yeah.
And I think that, you know, for me, it was a little bit of a challenge, and, you know, I've had to adjust to it, but it kind of goes both ways. That, you know, for me, it was a problem for a while where when you're trying to coach and you're trying to train at the same time, it's tough to do both, right?
Yeah.
And get a solid workout in. So exactly what you said, Vaughn, is, you know, to record your lifts so you can see what you're doing wrong. But again, it's that same thing where I've got a great group, just like you guys have both got, that, you know, they will point out, you know, what you're doing wrong if they can see it, right? Some are apprehensive if they're still new, but I mean, the seasoned people I got training with me now, if I'm doing something wrong or they see somebody else doing something wrong, you know, they kind of coach.
They don't hold back.
Yeah. And they don't hold back, right? They want to see everybody succeed and get better at what they're doing. So it's fantastic. That camaraderie that you see in competition, to see it flow over into training is just that much better. Yeah.
So we could talk for another probably 2 hours like this.
Oh, for
sure. We got to wrap it up because we're trying to keep these episodes to about 30 minutes or less. We're already a little bit over.
That means we got to get you back, Vaughn. We got to have
we'll get you back. Yep.
I would love to be back. This is great.
Yep. We appreciate you coming on, man. It's good to see you.
It was my pleasure.
As we get closer to that September show, we'll schedule some time to get you back on, man. But thank you for being a guest. Appreciate it.
Looking forward to it. Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks for pointing out my age. Appreciate it. I'll
guys.
that, Vaughn, next time I see you, brother. Be good.
All right. Sounds great, guys.
All right. Signing
off.
off.
Have a good one.
You too.